Hey YouTube, Jam here, and welcome back to the gaming station. Real quick, I want to point out that we broke 100 subs finally. I want to thank all you guys for the support you've given me. 100 subs was my goal when I started this, so hitting it so quickly means a lot more than you guys would really think. Let me know what you think we should do for a 100 sub special down in the comments. Anyway, today we're going to be continuing the meta breakdown series by talking about the next set of modes, Siege and Hotzone. I know these aren't the most popular or liked modes, but I enjoy them, and it's good to talk about them to see if there are brawlers that are just dominating the modes, or if they make appearances in other modes as well. Kind of like Tara and Sandy from the last video. As always, I wrote down the top 10 brawlers in terms of win rates, and the top 10 brawlers in terms of pick rates, then compared the two lists, and broke down the 5 brawlers that appeared on both lists, giving the higher priority to brawlers that had the higher win rates. If I didn't have enough brawlers in both lists, I'll expand the list, but the approach would still be the same. I'll give a few honorable mentions as well. These are brawlers that are still good in the mode, but they just missed out on making the list. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's get started on these lists. We're going to start with Siege, and we'll go over the honorable mentions first. Gene. Now, obviously, Gene is really good in Siege. I can't really explain why both his win and pick rates are outside the top 10. They're not terribly far off, but this did knock him out of the list for the top 5. I'm guessing his mythic rarity can contribute to his pick rates. As far as win rates, I have no idea. Maybe people just don't know how to play him in Siege. I don't know for sure though, but Gene is still good in Siege, so don't be afraid to play him there. Ems. I feel like Ems benefits a lot from these new maps, as her attacks cover a good portion of the lanes, and that helps her win the matchups where she has the range advantage. Right now, she's 9th in win rates, but her use rates are just outside the top 10, so she gets snubbed. But she can work very well on most Siege maps, and like I said, I really like her on the new ones. Tick. Tick is obnoxious in Siege, in my opinion. Right now, he has really good use rates, but his win rates are a little low, so he didn't make the cut. Tick is great at stopping opponents from just sitting around waiting for bolts to spawn, because he can just spam shots and force them to move around the map. But where he struggles in Siege is bolt collecting, as he doesn't really have the HP to move up and try to hold his lane by himself. Try to keep that in mind if you do play him in Siege. BB. BB was arguably the best bolt collector the last time we did this list. She's still very good at it, but she's no longer the best because of the HP nerfs that she got. She's still very solid in the mode, and she could have been put in the top 5 as she's currently 5th in use rates, but she just barely missed the win rates list by 0.2%, so sticking to the rules, she didn't make the cut. Alright, with honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the actual top 5 list. We're starting this list with Dynamite. I know it's kind of weird to say that Dynamite's meta for anything, but he just beat BB for the 5th place spot because he's 11th in win rates at 52.3% and 7th in use rates at 4.5%. Dynamite was an honorable mention the last time I did this list, so I'm not entirely shocked that he broke through this time. He does great damage, and you don't exactly have to be a mind reader to know where opponents want to go in Siege. Also, I feel like Mike benefits a lot with these new maps if he's using his Dyna Jump star power, because if he needs to escape quickly, he can just jump over the walls in the middle. Alright, next up at number 4, we're going to have Sprout. Right now, Sprout has the 10th highest win rates at 53.2% and the 9th highest use rates at 4.3%. Sprout is probably the best thrower for holding a lane, as his shots are very easy to land even after his overgrowth rework. And if you have his gadget, there's almost always grass around for you to quickly heal so you can stay in the fight. Also, his walls come in handy for redirecting the bot or blocking opponents from moving up into your lane. Overall, Sprout is just a good control brawler and can hold his lane very well, which is a big thing in Siege. Number 3 on the list is going to be Barley. Barley is currently 9th in win rates at 55.3% and 8th in use rates at 4.5%. Barley was ranked the last time we did this list, and I think his gadget got buffed since then, if I remember right. He does great damage to opposing brawlers and the Ike, and has a great area of denial with his attack and super. And now, if a melee brawler gets too close, he can drop his gadget and almost always escape so he can heal up. His gadget also works very well at delaying the boss from getting to your Ike, so now he brings defensive utility as well. Pam is going to be number 2 on the list. She's currently 3rd in win rates at 59.3% and 3rd in use rates at 5.9%. That's actually really impressive to have nearly a 60% win rate while being just shy of 6% in use rates. Pam is great in Siege for 2 reasons, her sustain and her damage output. Pam is made to hold down a lane and push people out of it. She has her heal station, which provides her heal over time, and if you have her gadget, she will also have a burst heal. On top of that, her damage is nothing to ignore, and she can chip brawlers out as they try to approach her. These 2 things make it hard to win control of a lane once Pam has set up shop in it. And the number 1 brawler for Siege is going to be Gale, unsurprisingly. Gale is number 2 in win rates at 60.7% and number 4 in use rates at 5.6%. Any idea why Gale is ranked so high? Yeah, it's probably because his jump pads. It lets his team have very little downtime after being killed because they're able to jump right back into a fight as soon as they respawn. On top of that, Gale also now does insane damage since his shots were reworked, and they're still very easy to land. The last thing that I think helps Gale in Siege is the fact that his super can now be used to push the bots back away from your Ike, or if you have his star power, you can knock opponents into walls and almost guarantee kills on them. There's a lot to like about Gale in Siege right now, and his stats show that he's doing great in the mode. So, this time around for Siege, Sprout and Barley are the only repeat brawlers. Dynamite managed to break into the top 5 this time, and I think all the throwers are doing really well because they can just dominate from the middle lane. As for Pam, she's always been good for Siege, and I think she slowly earned her spot this time just by being consistent in the mode. And Gale is just broken right now, so it's not a big shot that he managed to take the top spot. Now, let's get started with Hotzone. This is the first time we're going over this mode, as the last time I did these lists, I wasn't sure if Hotzone was going to be permanent, so I didn't bother going over the stats for it. So, for the honorable mentions, we have Sandy. Honestly, I don't know if Sandy is great for this mode. He is a control brawler, but this isn't the type of mode I would expect him to excel in, as he's not really used for holding a point. But he has the 9th highest win rates in the mode, and he has pretty healthy use rates, so give him a try if you do play Hotzone. Pam. Of course Pam is good in Hotzone. For the same reasons she's good in Siege and Gem Grab, she's good in Hotzone. She can be tough to kill, and she deals good damage both up close and afar. Right now, she has the 11th highest win rates, but the 9th highest use rates. So, she just missed out on the list. But, she's still definitely a good brawler, and I would recommend her for this mode. Jackie. Jackie has the 6th highest win rates for the mode, and she falls just short of making the use rate list. Jackie is great at holding zones because of her high HP and the fact that her attacks take up a good portion of the zone. So, as soon as somebody steps on the zone, you can start auto-aiming and damaging them. Just work on dodging shots that are coming from outside the zone, and you should have some success with her. Alright, let's move on to the top 5. Starting the list off at number 5, we have Poco. Poco is 5th in win rates at 57.8% and 2nd in use rates at 8.3%. I think Poco is good in Hotzone for 2 reasons. He can be hard to kill because of all the healing in his kit, and this allows him to hold zones for a prolonged amount of time. And the other reason is the fact that tanks are pretty good in the mode in general, and because Poco is Decapo star power, where tanks are good, he will also be good. Moving on to number 4. Number 4 on the list is going to be Rosa. Rosa is just ahead of Poco in win rates, sitting at 57.9%, and she has the 8th highest use rates at 3.6%. Rosa is one of the most flexible brawlers in Hotzone, in my opinion, as her kit makes her very good at either holding down zones in 2-zone maps, or on 1-zone map, she can be very aggro and keep enemies pushed back after her team has gained control of the zone. I also think that Poco's high use rates for the mode also help her a bit, as they synergize very well if he's running Decapo. Number 3 on the list is going to be Gale. Gale is 3rd in win rates for Hotzone, having a win rate of 58.2% and having the highest use rate at 10.8%, which is insanely high. So, like in Siege, I think Gale's jump pad is a huge factor of why he's so good in this mode. The fact that you can use your launch pad to jump right back into a fight and minimize the amount of downtime your team has is huge. Also, Gale's super is great for knocking enemies out of the zone if they're getting close to taking it. Gale's just really strong the way he is, and his kit works super well for Hotzone. Barley is going to be 2nd on the list for Hotzone. He has the 2nd highest win rate at 58.3% and the 10th highest pick rate at 3.3%. Barley is one of the best throwers for this mode because his attacks do a good amount of damage while offering a good size area of denial. He can hang back and just throw shots into a zone while his teammates attempt to hold them. Or if he's in a zone, he can attack from afar depending on the map. While he may not be the best at holding zones because of his low health, his support that he offers is huge and shouldn't be overlooked. And the number 1 brawler for Hotzone is surprisingly going to be Frank. Frank has the number 1 win rate in Hotzone at 59.5% and the 7th highest use rate at 4%. I'm surprised a little by this because I would have thought Rosa or Jackie would have been in this spot, but I can see how Frank can work for Hotzone. He can sit back in the zone with his super, wait for people to come to him, stun them, and try to get his super right back. And having the highest HP in the game will allow him to hold his own for a while even if enemies are trying to chip him out from afar. Also, Poco's popularity in the mode will boost his win rates as well, I think. So, one thing to note about Hotzone is that all the brawlers I listed all hold a spot in the top 5 in terms of win rates. So, I have a feeling that in this mode, it's going to be a lot like Heist, where brawlers that are good in the mode will dominate it, and the other ones are going to struggle to find a spot in its meta. We will have to see if that remains true after they release a couple more maps, but this is just my guess. But as always, let me know what you think down in the comments. The next modes I'm going to do are obviously going to be Heist and Bounty, but let me know if I should do Showdowns as well. I'm on the fence about doing Showdown because I wasn't super happy with the way the list came out the last time, and pretty much any brawler can find success in Showdown with the right strategy. So I'm not sure if it's entirely necessary to do. But like I said, let me know what you think. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.